All right. I'm still showing the. Okay. Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. I'm Matt Perkins, joined as always by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today?
Matt Perkins, I get to see your face again today. It makes me happy. We talk all day, but that's a side thing. Dude, every day is a holiday. It really is. And today's a special day. We got someone who I'm extremely excited to have on kind of a new platform. So it'll be interesting to interact with fans, and I'm ready to roll, Matt Perkins.
Yeah, we are here on Show Us, which is really cool, really exciting, something new for us today. And we are here with Badger safety Preston Zachman. We're going to be talking all things Preston, all things Minnesota, Badgers, all that good stuff. We are so pumped to have one of my favorite playmakers in the defensive backfield that we've seen in a long time. Preston, thanks for hanging out with us here tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Of course, of course. It is Axe Week. Axe Week, we all know, is the biggest and best week of the football season. It always is. Bernie, you've got some great Axe stories. I have a couple fan Axe stories that I've really enjoyed. But first of all, let's just talk big picture. Sort of in your mind, like, what does this game mean to the team here to sort of finish out the 2025 season?
Yeah, I mean, this is the Axe Week, like you said. This is the Super Bowl of the season. I think everyone kind of knows that records don't really matter going into this game. You're going to get both teams all, and it's going to be a straight up battle and see who can be standing at the end of the fight.
Are you expecting it to be kind of like an old school Big Ten game here? Just, a rock fight, two teams are trying to bludgeon each other to death?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people would like, but with the weather that's kind of expecting, hope it's supposed to be pretty cold. I think there's supposed to be some snow and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of what you're expecting to see.
Listen, this game's always played at the end. And when a long time ago it was played inside, was it the Metrodome?
Metrodome, yeah.
So it wasn't cold there, but when we played at Wisconsin, it could be very chilly. And it was always a good game. No matter what, it's always a good game. Press, I got to ask, you show up. I mean, do you guys meet on Sundays or Mondays?
Sunday, well, both days really, but yeah, Sundays is kind of when we recap.
So when's like because I remember we'd come in and the coaches would give like this grandiose meeting about the acts, the history. Some of it's like ridiculous. People would cut fingers off the planet. Is that still happening? Like, is there still like this build up to the acts that is maybe like mythical?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll be something that we'll kind of talk about tomorrow, like during a team meeting, and kind of just a little brief preview of just like the history of the rivalry. But I think that was also something that was talked about all off season, kind of just making sure everyone understands the history of this game. It's a little different nowadays with transfer portal and stuff like that. You have so many new guys, so it's not everyone fully understands it. So it's trying to get them to learn and understand the history of this rivalry so they kind of understand the importance of it.
Well, especially, you guys are walking by and you've got a big empty spot in the trophy case. And I know, Bernie and I, obviously Bernie, you played. I've walked by it a bunch of times. What is there that extra added motivation just seeing that empty spot in the trophy case every single time you walk by it in the off season?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. When it's right in the middle of the locker room, you walk by it every single day, and just seeing that empty space in there, seeing the score from last year and stuff like that, it just kind of something that eats at you every day. I think that is a little bit more of a motivation every single day.
Dude, it's the most annoying thing to look at without the axe literally in it. It's like an empty closet that's all glass. It is brutal. So Preston, one more thing, and this is what I remember, and I hated it, but it really kind of grinds you up. They would put on the TVs all the time, like us winning and chopping down over on loops. Mm-hmm. So it'd be the team running around, doesn't matter where it was, chopping the goalpost down. There, we didn't used to chop the goalpost down in Madison, but it's evolved to being like we chop anything down you want. Are they still doing that kind of crazy? I mean, you couldn't change the channel on the TV because it was on a loop.
Yeah, I mean, on our TVs in the locker room there, they'll have videos of the times that they beat us and them chopping it down for like motivation. That they're like, we got to get that X back, and I think that's a cool way to kind of just another little thing that just eats at you every single time you walk by.
Matt Perkins, I love that some of the culture is still alive.
I
It's still
certainly
there.
hope so. You know, I mean, it's one of the reasons that we love UW football is that culture, is that special culture. I'm sure it's one of the things that attracted you to Madison in the first place, Preston. And you know, we'll talk about that, you know, a little bit later. But I want to get back to this game here specifically. Obviously, you know, it's been really tough for guys like me who are a big fan of yours. To, you know, you had a season-ending injury, which is brutal, but I know you're still in there, still in the, you know, in the room with the guys, watching film, doing all that kind of stuff. What do you think for, let's start with just the defensive backfield. What is going to be, you know, the biggest key, the biggest point of emphasis for the safeties and the DBs here in the matchup against the Gophers?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is you have to play sound football, but I think they gotta take advantage of opportunities to create havoc, get turnovers, stuff like that, make big time plays that can kind of flip the momentum or keep the momentum in our direction during the game. It'll be a huge game of momentum in a rivalry game like that. So if we can build that momentum early on as a secondary, I think that can really help our team.
Speaking of momentum, though, you know, what is sort of the emotion there in the building coming off of, you know, one of the biggest wins that the team's had in a while, you know, in a dominant performance over Illinois this past weekend, 27-10. You know, we saw some big plays from, you know, especially from the defense. Obviously, Daryl Peterson, who's a guy I think you came in with, right, as a freshman, Ricardo Hallman as well. You know, what was it like to sort of see that, be a part of that, and, you know, build that momentum going into this final regular season game?
Yeah, I think it was a great game this past weekend, and just kind of just the confidence in the team. You can kind of see like, all right, yeah, like we can do this, like we can beat these teams, we can beat teams like that. And I think you have to use that confidence, but then you also have to make sure you're not too high after the game. Minnesota doesn't care that we just beat Illinois, so you kind of have to almost knock that, not necessarily knock the confidence down, but just make sure we're not too high coming into this week and just refocus up and make sure we bring it the same way this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Bernstein, yeah, go for it.
Oh, I'm happy to ask questions. So what's exciting about this week, and Preston, you tell me more, is that this comes to me not just it's a pivotal time in the program and maybe Coach Fickle's time here, right? I think in my mind, the last two wins we had were big, and to beat Illinois when no one really thought there was a possibility. Now to go to Axe Week and have a little bit of hope to say we could do this, I think that drives, you know, maybe what this program could do. It's turning everything around. In your eyes, is this one of those games, like this is a not only Axe Week, but like a big deal for culture, for Wisconsin, for the program?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal just to finish out strong. But I think you can kind of see these past couple games have, it's almost been a different football team than it was in the middle of the season. And I think to go out on top, go out with a victory, it would kind of keep that momentum going, going into the off season and going into next year.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're excited to talk about that, you know, sort of the direction of the program and much more here. We'll be back in just a minute after a quick word here from our sponsors. And we've got Modelo here on board with us for this show, which we are really excited about. You guys all know that college football season is in full swing, and the Modelo Recruiter is back in action. He is looking to reward full-time fans who give their all for their team. If you're listening to this, you've been recruited, and it's time for an ice-cold reward. Modelo is the perfect reward for your fandom and the official beer sponsor of the College Football Playoff. Badger fans, you deserve a Modelo. Go get yourself a Modelo pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Let's face it, Bernie, you and I enjoy a good Modelo pretty much any time of day or night. And, you know, now that we're not on the field anymore, you know, we can partake in that pretty much whenever we want, as long as we're not working, as long as we're not on the clock. Go check out Modelo. We appreciate it, and we'll be back here in just a minute.
Matt Perkins. Modelo came on strong.
Modelo has come on very
I
strong.
feel like 10 years ago you couldn't find one. Maybe you could, right? But I don't remember Modelo.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think they're the biggest selling beer here in the country now, as far as I know. But you know what? We're gonna get right back into
Let's
it
get
now.
right back into it because
Let's
it
get right
sounds
back.
delicious, and I don't have one. I don't want to think about it anymore. Oh, I'm gonna drink a Modelo
I know,
tomorrow.
I know. I think we both might have to, but either way, it doesn't matter. We're gonna talk. We're gonna go. You know what we do with a lot of our guests, Bernie, on the show? We take it back a little bit, right? We take it back. We're gonna take
I
it
have
back
more
to.
questions about some of the guys today,
Well,
but we
we're
can
gonna
take
get
it
there.
back.
We're gonna
Let's
get
get there.
there. We gotta go back to Central Pennsylvania first, though,
Ooh,
because
I've driven through it.
there's a lot that goes on there. There's a lot that is there's a lot that's happening there in Central Pennsylvania, especially when it comes to football. Preston, anyone who's read up on you like I have knows that there is a lot of great football players who come out of there, and you played for some really great teams in high school. But let's go back to little Preston. How do you get involved with football? Like, what is that something that's part of your family, part of your town? Like, when are you first introduced to the game of football, and sort of how did that grow with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it started at a young age. My family was huge sports fanatics, and like football was always on the TV. I mean, growing up, I was watching ESPN every single day. I'd watch the ESPN highlights. I think it was just kind of something that was ingrained in me, and just I like couldn't wait to get out on the football field. I wanted to play at such a young age that I was too young, and I had to wait a couple years. I wanted to be like my older brother who was out there playing football, yeah, I just started pretty young, and I fell in love with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, one of the awesome things about here, about being on with Show Us, is that we get to have the fans pop by and ask some questions. We've got our first fan here today, and that is Tony A. Thanks for stopping by, Tony.
Hey, I'm a fan and I'm here. It's good to be here.
Absolutely love it.
Awesome. Preston, thanks for hanging out and doing this, as well as you guys, Matt. Matt, and that's awesome. All right. So, question for you, Preston. So, what is your most memorable interception at Wisconsin?
I would say it's probably my first interception in 2022. Coming back after a long string of injuries, hadn't really played any snaps yet. I had got cleared right before fall camp that season. Wasn't even sure if I was going to have any role on the team. I was cut last on the depth chart going into fall camp. Was able to kind of get in a role into the rotation and was able to get an interception in my very first game back. I would say that's my most memorable one.
So that being as memorable, do you have visual representation of that somewhere in your house, whether it's a photo or just a screen of like an animated GIF that just plays perpetually throughout the day? And you can just turn around and look at that and be like, I did that.
I have a picture framed in my apartment here of just all my teammates celebrating with me right after that interception.
That's awesome. Don't sign it. Just leave it as it is. I think that's probably the way to go. So, and another question: who's one of the top quarterbacks you've had to defend?
Well, that's a good question. I would say C.J. Stroud was one of the better quarterbacks that we had played a couple years ago. He was pretty good. He had a lot of weapons, and he could throw it all around. And obviously, he's had some success in the NFL.
Awesome. All right. So, skewing away from just football for a second, what's your go-to like pregame or postgame meal, like your favorite?
I always love a good steak. I always make myself a pretty good steak. Usually Thursday nights, kind of before the next day that we go to the hotel.
Okay. And do you have a preference as far as like your spot, like, or are you just, the first one you see, like some dude selling them on the side of the road, you're like, hook me up?
I usually get mine from Metcalf's, the grocery store, and I make it here at my apartment.
Awesome. Very cool. Last question, gaming. Who's playing what on the team, and what are you playing?
I mean, we have a lot of guys that will always get on the game. Recently, we've been playing a lot of NCAA. You can kind of go like 3v3 against each other and playing games. So it gets pretty rowdy, a lot of trash talk and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Very cool. Thank you for humoring all the ridiculous questions, and good luck with the game, man.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony. Those are some great questions, actually.
Fantastic questions. We love to hear
a lot of follow-up, but we played a lot of NCAA. So I like to see that has not changed. A lot of smack talk. That's awesome. Dude, what kind of steak are you eating on a Thursday night that you make yourself? When are we coming over to drink a Modelo and get a steak, Matt Perkins?
Not soon enough, apparently.
Not soon enough is right. Is it like a specific cut? You like skirt steak? Is it
ribeye,
T-bone,
sirloin? Yeah. Like what kind of steak are we
You're
talking?
What to two fat guys.
How are you? Yeah, how are you seasoning it? Are you marinating it? Like, you gotta give us some details.
Just like just a strip steak. I'll have like a little indoor grill that I can make it on.
Sounds. I don't know. Now I'm hungry and thirsty.
My cousin started going with the sous vide on that. Oh my god, it's that's to die for. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little skeptical at first, but he started going with the sous vide, and I was, he's converted me. Now I can't afford such fancy things, but just being a regular Joe Schmo. But that is how it goes. We were talking though here about young Preston in central Pennsylvania, probably eating some steaks as well growing up. You get to high school. When do you start to think and realize that, hey, like, I could play at the next level? I can play at the college level.
It happened a little later for me than some of my friends on my team. A lot of them started getting interest from FBS schools their freshman and sophomore year in high school, and I didn't really get any of that until after my junior season. I got a little bit of interest, and I still really wasn't that big of a recruit. I had a couple FCS offers, and going into my senior year, my only, I would say, bigger offer was Temple. I was actually offered by them to play quarterback, and I didn't get an offer from Wisconsin until after the 4th week of my senior season. I had visited there in the summer, but they didn't offer me yet. But once they offered me, it was a no-doubter.
I love to hear that. What made Wisconsin stand out? I mean, obviously Temple, it's so beautiful there in Philadelphia. I'm just kidding. Listen, I have respect for Temple, but it's not in the best place in the world. What like literally you go visit, what do you think about Madison right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously tell it's a beautiful city, but then just the culture that was built here and just all the guys, you can just tell that's like something that I wanted to be a part of as soon as that I got here. And just the close connection between everyone here. And I think it was just kind of a perfect fit for me. And I was very glad that I made that decision.
And excuse me. And at this point, Jimmy Leonard is still the coach, defensive coordinator.
He was the defensive coordinator at the time. Yep.
So what's it like being around, a legend who was not recruited, kind of maybe a little bit, not so much the same footsteps, but a little bit middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. Then you sit in a room with him, like, what's he like?
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. He pretty much taught me everything that I knew when I had first got here. I mean, I didn't really have a lot of football knowledge in terms of schematics and stuff like that when I first got here. And I think that's something that I kind of pride myself on now. And I think a lot of it's from what I learned from him on how to prepare for a game and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And for all of you guys tuning in right now, make sure that if you want to hop on the show, you click that participate button we've got going on here on Show Us. If you want to hop up like Tony did, ask some questions here for Preston and myself. And you talked about some of those guys that were in your class and that you played the high school football with. Dude, your high school football roster was stacked. First of all, Julian Fleming, who is one of the best receivers to go out there and do it. I think you had Cal Halliday there as well with you. Gage Garcia, who ended up at Michigan, I think. You had a couple other guys there as well. Old school name, Henry Hynoski, was there before you, but he is someone that Bernie and I remember very well. Like that football culture at Southern Columbia, that must have been something that you guys just sort of reveled in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of the connection or like what made me like Wisconsin. It was kind of a similar culture there at high school where it was a winning culture, old time coach that just found ways to win. We didn't do anything flashy or anything like that. It was just hard work and we found ways to win. And yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of good players that come out of there, and yeah, a lot of those guys are still good friends of mine.
That's awesome. Who were you trying to model your game after? Because I mean, obviously, like you were playing a little bit of everything. You were playing quarterback in high school. You're playing, on the defensive backfield. But who were some of the guys that you were studying then that you were trying to model your game after? And then as you've grown as a collegiate player, who else have you tried to emulate? I mean, you've got Eric Weddle and Ed Reed and Jimmy Leonard's, jerseys behind you. So we got to assume those are some of those guys.
I wouldn't say I modeled my game after anyone in high school. I mean, I kind of, like you said, played all over the place. I didn't know what position I would be going into college. Kind of was whatever opportunity I had, I was willing to take it. And I would say, like, going into college, I haven't really modeled my game after anyone, but I think you can kind of watch a bunch of players in the NFL and try to steal a little thing, like one thing from this guy, one thing from this guy, and just finding ways to make more plays. And I think, kind of like you mentioned with Ed Reed, just not that I try to model my game after someone like that, but you just see the way he plays post safety and just is relentless and just going to try to get interceptions and stuff like that. And I think that's something that I've kind of taken, where it's like sometimes you have to take a couple risks to go get the big reward, and sometimes that has paid off.
Ed Reed's a good person to model your game off of. If you're going to. So we talked a little about NIL, and I really love asking, guys who are still part of the team. The world's and you were here before, so the world has changed drastically. What was it like when you woke up that one day and someone's like, you can make money now? Like, was it a weird shift? Was there like a lot of moving pieces than there was before? Like, what is that day? I'm just so like in awe of what that could possibly mean.
Yeah, I mean, it has obviously changed a lot, but when they had first like announced that was going to be a thing, it was more of just a lot of talk, and we weren't really sure what it really meant or what was going to happen. And even when it had first started, it was really like, all right, now we have this, and nothing has really changed. It has evolved into a lot more now, but when it had first came out, it really, for players like me that weren't really playing at the time and stuff like that, it really wasn't any different at that time.
But so then to double down and have the transfer portal kind of just be an open, wild west type of scenario, that must have changed the locker room drastically, because you have guys who now can literally just eject whenever they want. How's it dealing with new guys in and out every year? Some people are only there for a couple of months. Like, must be so difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy, especially because you have probably 20 new freshmen coming in as well. And that was already like, there's a lot of new guys that you have to kind of welcome them into the team. Well, now you have maybe 20 to 30 transfers coming in as well. So that's 50 guys, almost half the team is brand new every single season. So it's more of, you just have to go in with the approach that you got to welcome them with open arms and just kind of show them the way of what the culture is like here, and just kind of let them join. And I think that's the best way to kind of approach that and help those guys be a part of this culture.
And so first of all, I love that. So I would believe that you are a leader amongst your peers. Do you have to like change because there's so many new people, or you're just like, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to tell you how it is, and like, I'm going to be this leader because not only I want to, but the team needs it?
Yeah, I think there's different types of leaders. There's some that are more vocal like that, I would say. But for me, I think I'm not as vocal of a guy, and I think I'm more of a lead by example type of person. So I think for me, it's just for transfers or young guys coming in, just follow me and watch what I do, and hopefully that they'll follow along.
Who are the vocal guys in the locker room?
I would say like guys like Aaron Witt, Daryl Peterson. They're more of the vocal vocal leaders of this team.
So you just saw Darrell Peterson come off maybe one of his best games ever as a Badger. Is that thrilling to you?
Yeah, I would say a guy that's been here for a while and has stuck it out, and just to finally see some of the success that he's having, especially these past few weeks, is just really awesome to see. And I'm just very happy for him. And I obviously saw today he got the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. I mean that's just awesome for him.
Do you guys especially you veteran guys who've really weathered the storm? I think of you, I think of Darrell, Ricardo Hallman, Ben Barton, Vinny Anthony. The guys who Riley Ballman, the guys who've been there for 4 or 5 years, who have gone through all the transition, more transition than Bernie and I can ever remember. Do you guys have like a sort of like a special bond because you guys have had to really ride it out together?
Yeah, I would say so. I think our team overall, and it's even including some of the transfers, I think we have a very close team, and I think with some of the highs and lows that we've had through even this season, I mean, I think you have to have a really close team to grind that out. And I think we don't win those 2 last home games if we didn't have a close team. There's been no quit in the team whatsoever, and I think they're just out there, they're fighting for each other every single game. I think you can kind of see that just by the way that they fight on the field.
What did it mean to you guys when AD McIntosh comes out, with the vote of confidence, says, "Hey, Coach Vic isn't going anywhere"? Like, what was the response in the locker room, and did that sort of change the tone or the tenor of how things were going?
I don't think it necessarily changed the tone or kind of how we were approaching things. I think it's just like we're still going to keep fighting, and I think we were so close that it was more of like we weren't concerned about any of the outside stuff that was going on, that we were just focused on our team getting better, and our team finding ways to win. And I think you've kind of seen our team get closer and closer together and get better and better throughout the season.
Yeah, and so you guys talk about getting close. Obviously, the defense has really led a lot of that. What are the biggest areas of growth you've seen within the season for the defense?
I think it's been confidence and just comfortability of the guys playing together. There was obviously a lot of injuries early in the season, throughout the whole team. And when you have new pieces that are kind of plugged in on the defense or offense, those were guys that you weren't getting reps with pretty much all year. So there's kind of this uncertainty, maybe uncomfortability, not communicating the same way. Not that those players weren't good or anything like that. It just takes a little bit of time to kind of get in that groove. I think now that you've kind of seen those players playing together now for a little while, you're starting to see that and see how comfortable they are and how confident they are.
So you got Coach Tressel comes in, changes from the 3-4 to the 3-3. What have you seen evolve the first 2 years to this year? Because I think the defense has been drastically better this year than it has the last 2 years. What do you test that to?
I think a lot of it's our front. I mean, up front, we've been getting after teams, and the games that we've played really well, our front has caused a lot of havoc in the backfield, and they haven't been able to run the ball. The QB is running all over the place, can't get comfortable in the pocket, and when he can't get comfortable in the pocket, I mean, as a guy that plays in the secondary, that's your dream. You can get him to make a bad decision and throw an interception or fumble, stuff like that. Might mess something up in the back end, but QB scrambling around, he might not be able to see it. So they can save you by their pressure up front.
They've been getting a lot of pressure. It's been fun to watch, like a staple Wisconsin defense again, and I think that's I don't know the word, but I think it's good coaching. Like Tressel's taken stock of what has worked and what hasn't, and you probably know better, and has changed some things to make it so you guys can have success. And I think that's great. Now, if we flip to the offensive side, a lot of struggles. And then all of a sudden you get Carter Smith. What, like you see, everyone keeps saying he was on the scout team a couple weeks ago. I can't stand how they say it on TV 50 times. What's been his gradual, ascent to QB1.
Yeah, I mean, obviously things kind of happened pretty quick for him that he got promoted to QB1. But I mean, he's a dynamic player for sure, and I think you've kind of been able to see that he's a dual threat and that he can kind of give defenses issues. And I know you can talk with a lot of defensive players. I mean, some of the hardest things to cover or defend is a QB that can do both. When they can have +1 in the run game with the QB, I mean that can cause a lot of issues for a defense, and you have stuff like that opens up the pass game then, and that can help the offense a lot.
Yeah.
Go for it, Matt Perkins. No, Matt Perkins, you're over this.
Oh, we're stepping all over each other. You know, it is Monday evening. It is ahead of Thanksgiving here, so you know you never know what's going to happen here. No, but what I was going to say is, like, obviously, you know, like I said, he was a scout team quarterback. Could you tell when you were running, you know, you're running first team defense, he's running scout team quarterback? Could you tell, like, hey, like there might be something there with this kid?
Yeah, you can always kind of see some potential in a lot of the freshmen, and it might not have been shown as much just because if he's playing scout team quarterback, they're telling, okay, throw the ball here, throw the ball there, where he's not actually getting to play the game. It's a little bit different than now what you're able to see when he actually gets to go out there and playing games now.
Do you think Carter Smith is the future next 4 years of Badger quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that's kind of hard to say in today's world. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely shown that potential that he can take that next step and play and start at this team. And I think his abilities to play quarterback can really help this team.
Let's switch it back to the defense and some of these safeties. Obviously, with your injury going out, we've seen a lot of Matt Young. You know, stepping in for you. What have you seen out of Matt that you've liked, and how have what is your relationship with him, you know, been like, and like what are sort of like the tips that you are trying to sort of like the wisdom you're trying to impart on him as he steps onto the field?
Yeah, I have a great relationship with Matt. I think the thing that I've seen with him is he's getting a lot more comfortable out there, whereas I think right after I had gotten hurt, he kind of he felt a lot of pressure that he had to be perfect. And in football, that's just not realistic. You're going to mess up some things and stuff like that. But he's a great football player. He has great instincts, and I think now you're starting to see that he's getting a lot more comfortable and he's playing a lot more free. He's out there making a lot more plays, and he was very close to getting that interception this past weekend. But one's coming for him.
Well, let's hope it's Axe Week, because I would love for that to happen. All right, I'm an offensive guy, so I don't want to switch back to the defense, Matt Perkins. I want to ask you a question. Like, you know, it feels like the offense has evolved very quickly. Maybe because Carter went in, maybe I have an obsession. I do, but it looks like everyone's gelling, and it's come maybe late. But it looks like the team, the offensive line, the running backs, everyone's kind of figuring it out. From an insider's perspective, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, especially as a defensive player, I think you kind of notice that there's the complementary football aspect of it, where the offense is gelling, the defense is gelling, special teams is gelling. That then when you can kind of put that all together, you can see what we can do, like we did this past weekend. And I think that just kind of boosts the confidence of everyone in the building, and it can build that momentum moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, one more time for those of you watching, and, you know, want to remind everyone that you guys can hop up here and ask questions for Preston, or even Bernie, or God forbid you want to ask me a question. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Here in the Show Us in the Show Us app. So we hope you are doing that. We hope you are enjoying this here, because we certainly are. But, you know, I want to talk, you know, about Coach Jack Cooper, who's come in as a safeties coach this year with you guys. What's his addition been like for that room?
Yeah, he's been great. I think we see pretty eye to eye on our philosophies of safety and defense and stuff like that. And I think it's been really good this year that, like, we've been able to talk about different schemes or different ways that we can play certain positions and certain defenses. But he's a great coach, high energy all the time, and he really relates to the players very well. And I think that's one thing that I know at least the guys in the safety room really respect about him, that he's very relatable. He's one of the guys. He's not like higher up speaking down to us. He's right there with us, and he rides the roller coaster with us, and he's a great coach.
So you mentioned the roller coaster. We talked about Coach Fickle kind of weathering this a little bit. What's the message been on the inside that Coach Fickle's been, staying, what's the motto of we're sticking with it? What's his message been to the team?
Yeah, I mean, you got to just keep staying in the fight, keep fighting back. I mean, we've gotten knocked down obviously a couple times this year, but I mean, you got to just get back up and keep swinging. And I think that's shown in the past few weeks. We haven't quit. No one's quit on the team, and I think it's shown a lot of promise in what we have here and what we can do in the future.
Excellent. Well, before we get you out of here, I do like to have, we do like to have a couple rapid fire questions. I got a Modelo 6-pack of rapid fire questions here for you tonight, Preston. I'm going to start. What was your welcome to college football moment? When did it really hit you? Like, whether it's on the field, what's your welcome to college football moment?
My freshman year during COVID, I actually got to travel because we had so many guys on the team with COVID that I made the special teams list. I was a backup on kickoff. There was no fans in the stadium. My first kickoff rep was, I think, in the third or fourth quarter. And, of course, I was the guy running into the double team. My first snap of college football ever, and I got put on my back pretty quick, and that was my welcome to football moment.
That's a good one. That's actually a really good one. Who is the toughest receiver or tight end you've had to cover?
Toughest receiver or tight end?
Because there's some of those guys in Ohio State. You mentioned, playing against CJ Stroud. They always have a bevy of receivers.
They do. I never really had to cover any of them when I played, though. A lot of those guys were on the outside. Let's think. Actually, I did have to cover Emeka Egbuka that game. He was pretty good receiver.
Yeah, he's doing just fine at the next level.
Doing very well, yeah.
What's the best away stadium environment? Like, what's your favorite road environment to play in that you've been at?
Best road game. That year at Ohio State, that night game, I think it was their blackout game. I knew they had a big stadium and stuff like that, but I didn't realize kind of how loud and how rowdy that crowd had gotten.
That was 22. That was 2022.
2022, yes.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that game. That was a crazy one. Who's the biggest physical freak on the Badgers? The guy that you're like, how can this guy's body do that?
I think the biggest physical freak probably is Chris Brooks. I think he's kind of an underrated name, kind of overlooked. He can kind of do everything, and he's very big for a receiver. He could probably play tight end if he wanted to, but he can run like a receiver. I think he's very overlooked.
I think AB is mad that you didn't mention him right now too. Who's the fastest guy in a Badger uniform this year? Straight line speed.
There it is. You just said it. AB.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ooh, I would not have guessed that. I like to hear that. Okay, final one I got for you. All of the coaches are put in a wrestling ring. We've got a Royal Rumble. Who's coming out on top?
Probably Coach Fick. I don't know how many of the other ones that wrestled throughout their life, so probably him.
He's never lost. He's never lost a wrestling match. I don't think he's going to start.
I don't know. I feel like Robach is a tough cookie.
I think he's a tough cookie, but still, I don't know if he's a wrestler or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Who knows? who knows? Either way, Preston, we cannot thank you enough here for hanging out with us here on the Believe in Badgers podcast on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. And a special shout out to everyone here at Show Us and over at Modelo for sponsoring this one. We had a lot of fun. We hope everyone tuning in had a lot of fun. Make sure that for more live events that you're checking out showus.tv for all sorts of fun fan engagement events. Check out our YouTube page, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. We are pumped for Axe Week. As always, we're heartbroken that you're not going to be on the field, Preston, because we love seeing you play, man. When you started the season off with 2 picks this year, I was like, oh baby, it's going to be a big year. So it's been, I can't even imagine what that's been like for you to go through, even just as a fan. We've been thinking about you, keeping you in our thoughts, and hope that your injury recovery is going well, so you can be back ready for pro day and ready for that next chapter. But again, thank you to everyone tuning in here to Believe in Badgers. And until next time, and always, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.